So that needs to sit there. So this whole thing needs to come towards me. Okay. Even once we get it where we want it, then I got to see my spacer on this side. Oh, yeah. Way off. So I think it'll work. I need to take and just grind these back. It's going, all right? There we go. Okay, so let's pull the fender off because it's just fighting us. We'll pull the fender off. Pull the oil bag off. So you don't build a bike one time, you build a bike 10 times. Then you do final assembly one time. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll do whatever custom work we got to do to get this wheel in. Then we'll redo the fender, get it set up, and redo the sissy bar. And then we've got to tear the whole thing back down after we weld the tank tabs up here, and here. And once everything's perfect and happy, then we tear everything down to bare frame, and it all gets sanded down and gets painted from the ground up. That's our plan. Well, that shouldn't be that tight. I don't know what I've got in there cattywampus, but something. So there's our spacer that's fighting us. You guys ever have one of those days where nothing just goes the way it's supposed to go? That's my day. Alright, so we're going to lower this down and let gravity help us do that. And the first thing I want to see is, why is that axle fighting us so hard? Boy, it's fighting all the way. So we're going to knock it out. Grab that other axle and see. A lot of times, this aftermarket stuff can just be the chrome. The chrome on top of the axle is just too tight to fit. So I don't know. Let's try our other axle and see if it behaves better. This one's a lot uglier, but I could wire brush that on the big brush. Yeah, it ain't much better. So yeah, so we're gonna try just a little penetrating oil. We're gonna try a little oil there. Okay, so there's part of my problem, is it didn't want to come off those bearings. See how it spit the bearings out? Okay. All right. So that's interesting. So what's tough is you can't find these bearings anymore. They don't make them, and you can't necessarily put them in a parts washer because these are a sealed bearing. So if you put them in a parts washer and it flushes all the grease out of inside the seals, it creates most havoc. So what I'm gonna have to do is I'm probably gonna have to line ream these a little bit and see if I can't get them smooth enough. Because if you see how I got that one in there, she spins just fine. That's what we want. So this one's doing okay. And it appears to me, the spacer, there's one of the spacers I had made down there, is at about the right place. But see, I shouldn't have to force those on. I thought I was having to pound on it because I was out of crooked going into the brake drum. I was stuck down here. So we're gonna have to figure that out. Where did I put that other axle? Here's one. Oh, here's the other one. So we'll have to see. So they're not crunchy. Yeah, okay, so all this stuff, I'm gonna have to wire brush all this stuff and probably ream these out. And these really should be almost pressed in here. I'm not too concerned about that because once you sandwich the drum against it, it can't go side to side. But even this one's a little tight in spots. Okay, well, so we know that's not the issue. We're gonna leave that the way it is. And then we're gonna feed this one up in here. Wow, I just barely put that on me on hand. And so what we want to see is if this was going through the wheel and it went through that piece of flashing. I'm trying to do this without getting my greasy fingers all over those new brake pads. Okay, so that goes like so. Yeah, so you can see it on this side. That is completely bottomed out, but we're not bottomed out here. If that makes sense. See the gap there in between the frame? So I wonder if that like that, and we had a washer like that, if that's enough or if it's too much. Yeah, so that's too much. Oh. Something tells me that when I get this where I want it, like that. Yeah, see, so this is back a little ways, and see that plate is nice and tight. Okay, so that tells me when I do this, that shoulder is what's causing me problems. That shoulder isn't going deep enough into the frame. I've got to take that shoulder back 1/8 of an inch on both of those. So that's part of my issue. The bearings and the wheel are the other part of the issue. And it looks like this all held in place. Yeah. All right, well, back to square one, maybe. So I appreciate everybody watching. We're gonna go ahead and clean all this stuff up and keep playing with this. And once we get this in, we're gonna see where the wheel sits and how far off center, because this is not going to work either. So I think my offset on my hub is different, which I knew, it didn't surprise me. So by offset, I'm talking about this 1/4 inch piece of steel that's the offset of the wheel that this bolts to. Everything's a little different from this to the old one. And I'm just bound and determined to run this wheel no matter what, especially when my star hub is in such bad shape. The only way to run that original wheel would be I'd have to, I mean, it's runnable, but all this rust and grime and the spokes, I'd pretty much just have to rebuild this whole thing, which I'm not real excited at doing. See, and that's what we're doing, is this was the spacer on this style wheel. So we try to modify this to that other style wheel, and it's close. A little frustrated, but it's close. So yeah, that's the next thing. Let's get these bearings all sized in. Let's get these axles cleaned up to where they slip and slide nice and easy. And then I'm gonna go ahead and channel this down a little bit to get this backing plate over where it needs to be. Need is that thickness right there. So if I was to do that, and then I did that where it sits, and then I came over here where this sits. Yeah, see, I still got that play there, and I'm not where I need to be. Huh. Okay, so with that washer back there, see my issue here about the shoulder? It's half, the shoulder's almost there, and it's still not enough. See where I'm at? And I can't leave this. Okay, so this shoulder is still too short, and I can't leave this washer here because this dimension on the spacer for the wheel is already preset. So basically what I got to do is, this thing is bottoming out here. It needs to come over that much and half again as much. So I need an easy 1/8 of an inch that I've got to basically plane that flat and that flat to get this over far enough that this brake surface here is flush with the frame here, and that tab aligns. So it's close, it's just real close. So I'm just gonna have to kiss this spacer on both sides, get it a little tighter, clean up all the bearing surfaces, and go from there. So thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe if you haven't, comment if you'd like, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks for watching. You guys can also follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. Also, don't forget to check out the Beacons link in the description below. See you next time.